Hello Stampers, welcome to another Rubber Redneck video tutorial. I'm going to be demonstrating how to make this little hot cider packet, and it features the stamp set called Gently Falling. To start out, we're going to create the base. You want to cut one piece of early espresso cardstock at 4 1/4 by 7 1/2. Then you're going to score it at 3 1/2 inches and then at 4 inches. Once you have it scored, fold it on the scored lines. And then we're going to start assembling our little packet here. So open it back up, and then you're going to want to cut one of the craft envelopes at 4 inches. So you're just going to cut that envelope at 4 inches, take the stamp from Gently Falling, ink it in crumb cake, and stamp around the edges. At the top, you're going to take the decorative label punch and punch out a little piece in the center here. Then you're going to apply some snail adhesive to the flap of the envelope, and you're going to shut that close, and then you want to apply some more snail to the back of the envelope. Now be sure to leave a little bit of a gap here because the envelope will overhang the edge of the crumb cake cardstock. Then you're going to place the envelope right on the inside of the early espresso cardstock. And you're just going to go to that scored line. Then you're going to take your hot cider packet, slide that inside your envelope, and then fold the cardstock back over. Then you want to cut a piece of 1 1/4 Cajun Craze striped grosgrain ribbon and a piece of the 3/8 twill tape. You're going to wrap that around the center of the cider packet, and then at the top, you're just going to tie it closed. Now the length on the ribbon varies because it varies on how you tie it at the top. I have smaller hands, so I use a little bit less ribbon when I tie at the top up here. So what I would suggest is leaving it on the rolls and then just wrap it around the center there, and then that way you don't waste any of your ribbon. Now to finish decorating it, what you want to do is you want to cut one piece of more mustard cardstock at 3 1/4 by 4 inches. Run it through the Big Shot with the houndstooth embossing folder, then sponge the edges with more mustard ink. Next you want to cut a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock, and you're going to cut that at 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. Use the cutter kit to distress the edges. Then you're going to snail the Cajun Craze cardstock to the center of the more mustard. Then you want to cut one piece of crumb cake cardstock, and you want to cut that at 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. Take the stamp from Grateful Greetings, ink it in early espresso, and stamp the image over the crumb cake cardstock. Then you're going to take the leaf from the Gently Falling stamp set, ink it in more mustard, and stamp it onto the edges of the crumb cake cardstock. Then sponge the edges of the crumb cake cardstock with crumb cake ink. Apply some snail to the back, and then you're going to attach that into the center of the Cajun Craze cardstock. Excuse me. Now on the back, you want to place stamping dimensionals. So place 2 on the edges here. Be sure to place it on the edges because you want your ribbon to slide around under your cardstock. Then just place that right in the center of the early espresso cardstock. Then take the stamp from Gently Falling, ink 2 leaves in early espresso, and stamp them onto crumb cake cardstock. Cut the stamped images out. Then you're going to place them onto the front of the crumb cake. Then you want to take the stamp from Gently Falling again, ink it in Cajun Craze, stamp it onto crumb cake cardstock, and cut that stamp image out as well. Place a stamping dimensional on the back, then place that stamp image right in the center there. Then you want to take one of the designer buttons from the Regals. I'm using the More Mustard button. and I'm using the bigger one out of the container. Just add a glue dot on the back and then place that at the top of where your stems are. Then you're going to want to make a little bow out of some natural hemp twine, and you're just going to apply another glue dot to the back of your little bow and then place that right in the center of your button. And then that creates the little hot cider packet. Thank you for watching.